Hi, I'm State Representative Jerry Knowles, and I'm here today with two of my colleagues, along with a good friend of ours. First of all, to my left, I have Representative Steve Mentzer. Steve, welcome. As well as Representative Keith Greiner. Representative, welcome to you.
Good morning.
And we have a special guest with us today, and that would be Dr. Bill Griscom. And Dr. Griscom is from my alma mater of Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology in Lancaster. And Doctor, welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to see you. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so we're going to get right into things, Doctor. Having graduated from Thaddeus Stevens, and very proud of that fact, there are jobs that are out there that are high-paying jobs, family-sustaining jobs, that are in great demand in today's economy. Can you tell us a little bit about Thaddeus Stevens and how it fits into filling these jobs?
The jobs you're talking about, Representative Knowles, are what we call the skills gap. Last year we had 1,400 employers with over 3,000 jobs for 400 graduates. And our students picked between a number of job opportunities. And that was great for our students, great for the college, but really not great for the economy of Pennsylvania, because a lot of those companies didn't get the human resources they needed. They could do 30 to 40 to 50% more revenue and business than what they're currently doing if they had the skilled employees that they need. So that's the demand that we see that's out there that we're trying to fill.
I understand that you have a really good placement rate at Thaddeus Stevens, and it's placement in jobs that I understand are careers that pay a very decent income. So could you expand on that a little for us?
As I mentioned, we had over 1,400 employers with over 3,000 jobs for 400 graduates. Our median starting salary is $42,500. Our median student loan debt is only $9,000. So these students, the 35% that do not have student loan debt, immediately start being productive citizens. But those that do have student loan debt, they pay off that student loan debt in a very short period of time. Remember, it's only a 2-year education. So the return on that investment is really incredible, especially in the context of today's higher education.
And am I to understand this correctly, that 98% of the students that graduate from Stevens Technology get a job? 98%?
100% in most of our programs. We have 2 programs. We have business administration and graphic communication technology, with a lot of other programs out there. So those are a little bit lower, but overall our students have multiple job opportunities for every graduate that we have out there.
Well, that's fantastic, and I think it really illustrates the fact that there is a huge need for certain type of careers, and your college is training those young people and all different age groups for those careers that are in demand today. And you mentioned that the average student loan is only $9,000. Is that, did I understand that correctly?
35% of our students have no student loan debt when they graduate.
No student loan debt.
Exactly. And those that do, the median student loan debt is $9,000. But these students, remember, they're going through in 2 years, not 4, 5, or 6. They're going through in 2 years, and they're getting jobs that start at $65,000 with full benefits. They're driving the economy. They're going out, they're buying cars, they're buying homes, they're living the American dream, and they're paying off that student loan debt in just a very few months, versus some of their peers who have $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 of student loan debt and really do not have an opportunity. They don't have skills that match the needs of the economy. There's great misalignment between the output of higher education and the needs of the economy. And if we don't address that, these students will continue to graduate with degrees in areas that really don't have a place in the marketplace. So they're going to stay living at home, making median salary jobs, and they really can't drive the economy. Our graduates, they go out and they buy cars, they have disposable income. They're the kinds of people that actually make the economy grow, and that's the counterpart of a lot of the students we see graduating from other degrees today.
The state of Pennsylvania does a lot of financing of our education in Pennsylvania. We support state-related schools and our PASHE system. But it sounds like in this particular case where we do support Thaddeus Stevens School, that there is a huge demand for Thaddeus Stevens School. Could you tell us, out of the people who apply, the number of people that apply and the number of openings that are available for those students that apply to come to Thaddeus Stevens College?
We're rather an anomaly in the higher education landscape because if you look at the demographics of the economy, you see that the number of students graduating from high school is going down. It's going to continue to go down for another probably 2025, something to that extent. Our number of applicants went up an additional 300 students last year, up to 2,800 students. So our enrollment has gone up. Our cost per student has gone down $650 based on our state appropriation, and our placement rate continues to be over 100% for most of our programs. 2,800
applicants for 700 openings. Is that what I understood you to say?
That is correct, and next year that's going to even be higher.
So there is really a need for us to devote more resources to colleges that are like yours.
We're a solution that works.
Exactly.
I mean, we're meeting the needs of the economy. We're meeting the demands of employers. The employers of the 3,000 jobs we had last year, we only filled 400 of them. So those companies are still missing the human capital, the human resources they need. And that's definitely limiting their ability to grow and expand. They could do 35, 40, or 50% more business and pay taxes and drive the economy if they had the human resources they need. So I think there's a great misalignment between the output of our higher education system today. We have a great higher education system, but I don't think it's aligned with the needs of the economy. The economy needs the types of graduates that we're producing and other graduates in business, healthcare, and industrial and engineering technology, but we're putting out a lot of graduates in fields that really there are no job opportunities for them.
Well, we've been hearing a lot about that over the past 6 years. Representative Knowles and Representative Greiner, have we not, about this skills gap, and here's a great solution.
Yeah, I want to follow up on that because I think the points are well said. You know, I've been sitting through appropriations hearings the last number of years, and even this year there seems to be somewhat of a paradigm shift. There's certainly discussions about where we can get the most bang for our buck, and you know, and we talk about workforce development, and you know, we have this shortage. We have people that are applying to your school can't get in. We have employers I know in Lancaster County that are looking to hire people, and there's a shortage. And then you talk about, you know, starting salaries in the $40,000 to $50,000 range. And I guess what I want to know, Dr. Griscom, is, you know, your vision. I mean, how can we as a state legislature maybe help you or grow the number of students that you could, you know, that could help serve us actually, you know, with job creation, and also maybe inquire, you know, what you would expect maybe from us or from the executive branch, you know, moving forward, because like I said, your track record and the performance has been absolutely outstanding.
I think, Doctor, well put, but if you could be king for a day, if you could be the king of Pennsylvania, what could we do for Thaddeus Stevens to help you become even more successful than you already are?
We're economic development. We're not about higher education. We grow the economy. So if you're trying to meet the needs of industry as well as support the students that come to the Thaddeus Stevens, our issue is capacity. We're scalable. When I've been at Stevens for 22 years, and when I came there, we had 400 students. We have 1,233 students, something like that today. We're very scalable. During that time when we increased from 400 students to 1,200 students, our performance, we track everything that we do. We have the most extensive dashboards of any college in America. We measure everything that we do, and we try and continually improve what we're trying to, our outcomes. And if you look at that, you'll see that our learning outcomes, our employment, everything about us has improved during that time. So we're definitely scalable. So I think the thing that we need to do, if we were at 10,000 students today, Representative Knowles, we wouldn't be getting to scratch the demand that's out there. And again, we do it in 2 years, so versus 4, 5, or 6 years, which a lot of four-year colleges do today. So we're not the solution for everybody, but we're certainly a critical need in growing the economy and meeting the needs of Pennsylvania. So I think to expand our capacity would be the thing. We've asked for $4 million. That $4 million would allow us to lease an additional 500,000 square feet, which would allow us to grow our programs. At the same time, we're looking for a capital project because we have a dining hall that was built in the 1970s for 150 students. We have 1,200 students today, so we feed those students in 30-minute shifts, and we have 2 little cafes that we created, and we have an agreement with Subway to do some things for our students over at Greenfield Corporate Center, where we have 50,000 square feet. But long term, we need to have a large dining hall and additional dormitories to support the needs of our students. Outside of that, in terms of program space, we just need the funds. That's what the $4 million is in there for. It would allow us to increase, double our current enrollment with the infrastructure that we currently have.
I think, to Steve and to Keith, one of the stories that I heard that I think really drives our message, and that is it was a student that went to a state college, and after graduating, after 4 years with the degree, I'm not quite sure what the degree was, but they couldn't find a job. So my understanding is that they enrolled in Thaddeus Stevens to get a 2-year degree in a trade where they could get a job so that they could pay off their debt for their 4-year degree. I mean, I think that says it all. I get very passionate about this, as you guys know. I believe that we need to put our money where our mouths are. We have, from the governor's office right on down to the Senate, to the House of Representatives, we keep hearing about what a great institution Thaddeus Stevens is. And by the way, they're owned by the Commonwealth. They're not a non-related. They're owned by the Commonwealth, and I think we have a responsibility. And one of you gentlemen had mentioned earlier that we're out there looking for creative ways to spend money to generate jobs. And you said it earlier, Steve. I mean, this is a proven commodity.
We have it right here, Jerry. We have it right here.
Right. So that's,
And that's just not us saying that, okay? I mean, when we're evaluated by external organizations and agencies, the Aspen Institute, which rates all 2-year colleges in America, has rated us as in the top 10% of all 2-year colleges in America since the inception of their rating system. Forbes rates us as the 9th best 2-year college in America. Our IPEDS 28 benchmark institutions, which is the system of the United States Department of Education, ranks us as outperforming our benchmark institutions in the critical performance measures by 300 to 500%. So that's not just, and that's something we really work at. A part of this story that we haven't told is that over 50% of our students come from financially or under-resourced families. They're first-generation college attenders. Our mission is to take those individuals and give them an opportunity through a high-skill, high-wage technical education to change the circumstances of their lives, break a 3-generational cycle of poverty, and become productive citizens and not repeat that. That's a return on investment that's really hard to calculate.
One thing that I have learned over the last couple of years too is that your vision, it's somewhat evolved. I believe, we have the welding facility that opened up, and if I'm not mistaken, corporations are reaching out to you quite a bit. Can you give me an idea of some of the programs that you've started just in the last couple of years, or that you may in the future? Because I do think that's been a problem with our educational system a little bit, with some of our post-secondary schools, is you become stagnant, but you're moving forward and you're trying to meet the needs. Can you give me an idea of the programs that you have developed and plan to?
At our college, based on our mission, we're not about programs. We're about students and providing them an opportunity to change the circumstances of their lives, become productive citizens, to give back to the communities in which they live. So we want programs that provide them the opportunity to graduate, progress, graduate, and get a family-sustaining job and have a career ladder that allows them to progress and be successful in their careers. By the way, all that data on every one of our programs is on our website. So anybody that wants to make an informed decision about the education they're going to receive, they should go to our website and take a look at our programs and compare that. When I meet with parents, I say, we're not going to fight the amenities wars, who's got the most cafes and climbing walls and all those other things, but ask how many students start a program, how many progress, how many graduate, how many get jobs in their field, what's their median student loan debt, how satisfied were they with the program, how satisfied were employers with those graduates, and where were they 5 years after they graduated. And based on that, compare us to other institutions that you're looking at. We could add a huge number of programs, Representative Greiner. Diesel mechanics, there is a huge need for that. It's just simply a question of resources. We have auto mechanics, we have collision repair. We would like to create a transportation port. In our request for the $4 million, we'd create a transportation port over at Greenfield Corporate Center. We would add diesel mechanics. We would double or triple the size of our automotive and our collision repair programs and provide that opportunity and meet the skills gap that's out there. So our vision is to simply continue to support the needs that exist from industry and to provide opportunities for the students who come to us.
You know, like I said, it's been outstanding, and you know, I know whatever we can do. You know, I've been very supportive. I know my colleagues here have been too, and like I said, the success rate stands on it. You know, the merit it stands on its own record.
As much as education, it's economic development.
Exactly.
I mean, we're worried about, you know, deficit shortfalls and things like this. These companies could do 30 to 40% more business. And as I mentioned before, our graduates drive the economy. They're not sitting at home with mom and dad trying to pay off student loan debt. They're out there, they're raising families, they're buying homes, they're living the American dream of taking vacations, buying cars, and having a career progression that's very spectacular when you look at it in comparison to their colleagues.
And during the appropriations hearings, I talked to Secretary Davin with DCED, and I made the comment that we need to be laser focused on workforce development, and we talk about poverty and the issue, and there's discussions about minimum wage, et cetera, but the reality is if we can find people family sustaining jobs, if we can create that opportunity, that's where the real focus needs to be, and I think we need to leverage our state dollars to be able to do so, and I mean, it seems pretty black and white to me.
We're where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly.
We have more four-year college graduates in our freshman class than we've ever had before. Wow. A lot of them single moms that went to some of the most prestigious institutions in Pennsylvania. And they have a degree that really doesn't have value in the marketplace. And they're sitting there and they have children and they have to pay off that student loan debt and they have to change the circumstances of their lives. And they come to Stevens, and we had a young lady not so long ago that had, I think, 2 children who had graduated with a degree in art history or something. I'm not quite sure what it was. And she came to us and she said, I need to change my life. I'm a single mom and I've got these kids. And she went through our electromechanical program. She got hired by Purina Nabisco out of Centerville and York. She started out at $65,000, full benefits, and she's actually given money back to the college saying, this was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I can now take care of my family, and I have a great career. She's been promoted 2 or 3 times since she graduated. These are the stories that we see, plus students who haven't gone to four-year colleges that come to us from very difficult circumstances. And instead of becoming wards of the state and us spending $35,000 a year to incarcerate them in a prison, they're actually out there being productive citizens, giving back to their communities, being Boy Scout leaders, Little League coaches, and things of this nature. This is our story for 100 years.
I think, Dr. Grisham, I think that people are beginning to see, I think they're beginning to catch on, something that that you and I and everyone at this table has recognized. And listen, I'm not saying that four-year degrees are not, they're not a bad thing. No. There are certain people who that's where they're inclined to go, and they can, they can pay off their loan and they can live a good life. But we need to take this stigma off, and it's not important. It's not important whether you have a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. It's important that you can get a job, that you can graduate, and the small loan that you have, that you can pay it off and you can go to work and you can support your family. It takes a lot of, and I believe that my generation, we're probably somewhat to blame, because we drilled into our kids' heads that if you want to be successful, you got to have a 4-year degree, you got to go to college, and that is not the case.
That was the paradigm in the past. That's the paradigm that worked for you, it worked for me, and so forth and so on. But if you ever Google success in the new economy, there's a video that explains the economy's change. This is a new economy. We just started a software engineering technology program, and we used industry to create that program. And they said, we don't want a four-year graduate. Four-year graduates are too stale. We want someone who comes out of 2 years that we can work with, who has the latest technology, and to train them. And that program's over-enrolled. The students, we're just graduating the first class in May. Every one of those students had an internship. They all have job offers when they graduate. So it is a different type of economy. And like you said, four-year degrees are great. I think they're great in business and engineering, industrial technology, and healthcare. But they need to, and what we've said, one way to align the output of higher education with the needs of the economy was simply disclose this information to prospective students and their parents. We do that on our website. If you're buying a car, I heard a priest the other day say that to graduate from Notre Dame with a four-year degree and be a resident student was over $400,000. That's the same as buying a house. That's a huge investment. If you were going to do that, wouldn't you want to know everything you could find out about that? But wouldn't you have a building inspector look at that house and tell you what, the condition of the foundation, the roof, and so forth? So we're asking you to invest in a four-year college education. I would like to know how many students started this program, graduated, got jobs in their field, how satisfied were they with the program, how satisfied were employers with those graduates, what was their median student loan debt, and where were they 5 years after they graduated? That's on our website. It should be on everybody's website. That's just pure disclosure. That's being an informed consumer. The marketplace and the free economy works, but you need to have information, and unfortunately we're not providing that information to prospective parents and their students, and I think that's an ethical issue that we need to deal with.
Yeah, so we're running out of time here, and I'm thinking maybe it would be a good idea to wrap this up. And I want to make sure that I understand this. Well, the way I understand it, 98 to 100% of the students that graduate from Stevens Technology have careers.
Correct.
And they are very good family sustaining careers, anywhere from $40 to $60 to $70,000 when they graduate.
Yes.
And the next point is that I understand that there are 2,800 students that want to go to Stevens every year. Those are the applications that you have, and you can only fulfill 700 of those.
That number continues to grow.
And that number continues to grow. And you can take an institution that's already proven, that already has a great success rate, and if we provide you with the funding, you can almost double your enrollment. 1,400 additional students, if we can provide you with the funding for your infrastructure of $25 million and the funding, an additional $4 million funding, you can double your capacity.
Easily.
Is that? And we've talked, I know we've talked for the last 6 years, Representative Greiner, Representative Knowles, myself, the entire House has talked about finding out how to fill the needs of industry and employees for today's jobs. And that's exactly what you're doing here. So I want to thank you for coming to Harrisburg today and talking to us about this and walking us through this. And thank you, Representative Knowles and Representative Greiner, for participating.
Any parting words?
Like I said, Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology, simply outstanding. I'm hoping that we can work hard to get that funding because the results have obviously been positive, and I'm enthusiastic about the opportunity of working hard to continue to help your institution. Like you said, it's about the students. It's not education, it's economic development, and I think our focus really needs to be on that.
So, Dr. Griscom, I thank you so much for spending time with us today, so that my constituents, as well as all of Pennsylvania, could learn more about Thaddeus Stevens. Do you have any parting words?
Honestly, we should be at 10,000 students. And why is that so unrealistic? I mean, we have state colleges that are 8, 9, 10,000. Why wouldn't we have we're the only two-year technical college owned by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Why aren't we producing 600 or 700 graduates to begin to scratch the need that's out there and actually grow the economy and change the revenue deficit issue that we have currently in the Commonwealth?
Dr. Bill Griscom, the president of the Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Representative Mentzer, I will say that this was your brainstorm idea. I appreciate for you putting it together, and Representative Greiner, I thank you for your input. And as a graduate of Thaddeus Stevens, I'm thrilled that you guys have really gotten into this issue and recognized the value of my alma mater, and I thank you. So thank you for watching today. If you have any questions, the information on each of the legislators sitting at this table will go across the screen at the end of the program. Again, thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to talking to you again.